You wake up, reach for your phone, and see a notification that literally stops your heart. A glitch in the global asset registry has just transferred the legal title of every single ounce of gold on Earth into one wallet, yours. You do the math. Gold is trading at exactly $4,481 an ounce. You have 7.8 billion ounces. Your net worth is now $35.1 trillion. You are the richest human being to ever exist in the history of the universe. If you spent $1 million every single day, it would take you over 96,000 years to go broke. You instantly think, I can buy my dream car, a Ferrari. Wait a minute. You realize you can actually buy Ferrari, the whole company. In fact, you can buy all the major car companies. Private islands and super yachts seem completely affordable. You realize you can buy absolutely anything that's for sale. You can become the largest shareholder in all of the top 10 largest companies in the world. Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, Nvidia. You like sports? You can buy the entire NFL, the NBA, the NHL, and every single major soccer league. You can literally own global sports. And because of compound interest, you'd wake up the next morning richer than you were the day before. The world is entirely in the palm of your hand, until you look out your window. Because there is a massive problem. Everyone on Earth will shortly know what you have. Your face is going to be on all news channels. You are holding the physical anchor of the global banking system. And 2 black SUVs are already outside your house, probably to detain you. You aren't just a celebrity. If a rogue military hacks you or a cartel finds your address, you get tortured and killed for the digital keys. And with you, the global economy collapses. You are a walking, breathing national security threat to 195 different countries. So, what do you do now? You have a few options and hardly an hour to choose one. Option 1. You sell the gold. You start dumping trillions of dollars of gold onto the open market. But the moment you do, the market floods. The price of gold plummets to near zero, the global economy crashes into a depression, and your net worth evaporates. Bad idea. Option 2, you become a supervillain. You hoard the gold, lock out the banks, and try to force the world to bend to your will. The result? The US military decides the global economy is worth more than your life. You become the #1 most wanted target in human history, and you spend the rest of your short life dodging drone strikes. So, you go with option 3, the truce. You don't need $35 trillion in liquid cash. You just need to be comfortable, safe, and alive. First, you make a massive PR move. Using your global ledger, you officially transfer the legal title of all wedding rings, family heirlooms, and personal jewelry back to the everyday citizens of Earth for free. Instantly, the masses love you. You aren't a tyrant. You just gave them their history back. Then you sit down with the world leaders. You offer them a deal regarding institutional gold. You promise never to sell a single ounce of it. You will let the central banks continue to use their 36,000 metric tons of gold on paper to back their global currencies, keeping the world perfectly stable. In exchange, the governments of the world agree to pay you a leasing fee of just 0.1% a year on the value of that specific reserve. It sounds tiny, but 0.1% of the central bank's $5.2 trillion reserve is $5.2 billion a year in pure tax-free cash. The governments happily accept the deal. They get to save the world economy, and you get a guaranteed allowance of $14.2 million every single day for doing absolutely nothing. The global economy is stable. The government is off your back. You think you're safe. Until one night at 3 a.m., your perimeter alarms scream. You pull up the security cameras and watch as a heavily armed tactical team breaches your front gate. They aren't there to kill you. They are there to kidnap you and force you to drain the digital wallets. Your private detail stops them in a deafening firefight just down the hall from your panic room. As you sit in the dark, listening to the sirens, the terrifying psychological reality sets in. You aren't just a billionaire. You are the sole landlord of the global banking system. A luxury neighborhood is a death trap. You can't just hire a few bodyguards. You need a private army, 100 elite ex-military operators securing your fortress. So you buy a 50-acre compound in the mountains, 12 separate walls and iron gates, a no-fly zone, a guardhouse manned around the clock, and a staff of 200 people just to keep the lights on and the perimeter secure. Now you are safe. And with $14.2 million in pure, tax-free cash hitting your checking account every single day, it is finally time to play. You start checking off every wild dream you've ever had. You don't just buy a private island, you buy an untouched archipelago in the South Pacific. You hire the world's greatest architects to carve a mansion directly into the rock, featuring a massive bioluminescent natural swimming pool that flows straight into the ocean. Your car collection makes actual billionaires look completely broke. You buy the rarest classic Ferraris, one-off Koenigsegg's, and custom-built Bugattis, storing them in a subterranean, climate-controlled glass vault. The problem is, you get bored too easily now. You want a change of scenery every week. You have a 20,000 square foot glass chalet isolated in the snowy peaks of the Swiss Alps, a historic villa hanging off the cliffs of the Amalfi Coast, and a private sanctuary hidden deep inside a Kyoto bamboo forest. You even get bored of gravity. You take a private, custom-built shuttle into orbit, sipping 200-year-old whiskey while watching the curvature of the Earth in absolute silence. But when you land back on Earth, a strange feeling creeps in. You are sitting in a gold-plated $10 million hypercar, wearing a watch worth more than small towns, and you feel empty. The dopamine is gone. You realize that buying things only feels good when you can't afford them. So what now? One afternoon, you do an experiment. You walk into a pediatric hospital in your city. Anonymously, you pay off the medical debt of every single family in the building. You sit on a bench outside and watch as a father, exhausted and broken, falls to his knees in tears of pure relief when the receptionist gives him the news. It hits you like a freight train. That is the high. That single moment of bringing pure, unfiltered joy to someone else gives you more purpose than the private island ever could. You build local clinics, primary schools. You fund a $3 billion blitz that completely eradicates malaria and polio from the globe. You provide bionic limbs for individuals with disabilities and offer free surgery to restore vision for those who cannot afford care. You are trying to solve the global water crisis by building a network of massive next-generation desalination plants, piping purified drinking water to the most remote villages on Earth. You are doing what entire generations of politicians promised and failed to do. But within 2 years, you hit a massive wall. You realize that for every hospital you build, a corrupt local government cuts funding to another. For every school you open, a politician pockets the tax money meant for teachers. You alone cannot fix a broken world. You need the governments to work transparently. You need the system to actually function. And then you remember, you possess something that no other single human being in the history of Earth has ever had. Absolute leverage. You can revoke the leasing contract of any government and hyperinflation will render their currency meaningless. But that would hurt the mass population, so you do something smarter. You expand your private security team. You form a shadow cabinet. You headhunt the smartest minds on the planet, the most vicious corporate lawyers, brilliant economists, top-tier data analysts, and the greatest zero-day hackers from the NSA and MI6. Their only job? Map the corruption, identify the true leaders, and keep the governments in check. Because of your massive philanthropy and the fact that you gave the world its jewelry back, your public image is flawless. You aren't just a billionaire. To the 8 billion regular people on Earth, you are a living saint, and you weaponize that image. You don't need to bribe politicians. Your single opinion now dictates the fate of global elections. If a major political party is corrupt, you don't argue with them. You simply post a video exposing them with proof and endorse the actual good leaders. Politicians who genuinely want to help their people, but are normally crushed by the corrupt establishment. You back them, you fund them, you make them untouchable. Because the masses love you, and your intelligence team has every major politician's weakness, no political party on Earth can afford to be in your bad books. You're changing the world. You fulfilled your dreams. You are completely secure. So you retreat to your mountain compound. But then the real nightmare begins, because you are about to find out what absolute, unchecked power and wealth actually does to the human mind. One evening, the isolation finally breaks you. You are suffocating in a world of terrified yes-men. Every conversation you have is carefully calculated by people terrified of your power, and you haven't made a new real friend in years. Sick of the spotlight and desperate to just be a normal human being again, you ghost your own security team. You pull on a faded hoodie and disappear into a rundown diner on the edge of town. You sit at the counter and talk to a stranger. For 10 brief minutes, it is completely, heartbreakingly genuine. But then, the paranoia hits. You are the landlord of the global economy. As the stranger laughs with you, the dark whispers start. Did my shadow cabinet plant them here? Is this a foreign spy? Or do they already know about the $35 trillion? You realize the ultimate horror of your life. Even if you find a genuine connection, your brain will never allow you to believe it. You can't trust the variables anymore. You return to your mountain compound. The heavy iron gates lock behind you. As you sit in the quiet of your fortress, a darker reality sets in. The paranoia isn't just about strangers anymore. You look at your phone and realize that almost everyone you once knew now treats you differently. Distant relatives are suddenly talking to you like you are a bank. Old college buddies are pitching you billion-dollar startups. The money hasn't just isolated you, it has permanently poisoned your past. You are sitting in the dark, feeling entirely, overwhelmingly alone. Desperate for that unfiltered connection with the outside world, you invite your 3 closest childhood friends over to the compound for dinner the following day. As they walk through the blast doors, past the armed guards and the priceless art, your heart sinks. You brace yourself for the inevitable. You wait for them to look at you with that same wide-eyed, calculating fear that everyone else has. Then one of them looks around, shakes his head, and says, "This place is ridiculous. You still owe me $20 from 2018, by the way." Another one laughs and slams a cheap 6-pack of beer onto your $1 million mahogany table. Instantly, the tension snaps. They don't care about the leverage. They don't care about the money. To the rest of the world, you are the undisputed king of the human race. But to them, you are just the exact same idiot you were 10 years ago, who happened to get incredibly lucky. And as you sit there laughing until your ribs hurt, a terrifying psychological weight finally lifts off your chest, and the ultimate truth becomes crystal clear. The human brain isn't wired to find true happiness in abstract global metrics. True, raw human happiness only exists in the micro. It exists in an unguarded laugh, a shared struggle, and the absolute certainty that the person sitting next to you loves you for exactly who you are, not for what you can do for them. If you have someone like that right now in your life, guard those connections, for they might be even more of a treasure than all the gold on earth. All the wealth can only buy you the second best things in life. The absolute best things are always free.